Welcome to the bold analysis. Raila Odinga has been touted as the father of devolution. It seemed to have been placed strategically by the president to run the referendum agenda by President Ruto ahead of the next election. How William Ruto realized after 3 years in power that we needed to commemorate 27th of August as Katiba Day is not just a coincidence, but it was an opportunity to set momentum for what Odinga and President Ruto sees as an opportunity to float a referendum agenda. Do you think William Ruto is looking for a referendum within his first term? Or rather, what is the objective of Odinga being placed at the center of a referendum agenda? Watch this podcast to the end, and I'm going to explain in details the secret plan Odinga is actually working behind William Ruto. I want to say thank you very much. I rallied you this month of August to support Mama Rahab from Njoro. I rallied you, and we came together for the blind mother of who had also lost, was living in a very deplorable condition, in a very bad house. And on top of that, she had also given up some opportunity, opened her arms to another boy in the community. I am glad that on Saturday, we are going to have a small service as we officially hand over the house. This is so far where the house has reached. Of course, by yesterday, we plastered, the day before yesterday, we were plastering side ya ndani ya nyumba. And then this is the outer look. So tomorrow, there's going to be a little bit of finishing tomorrow and Friday. Then on Saturday, Rahab will officially get into this house. Na nasema santeni sana that I asked you. We came through for her. And for those who are still willing to support the pending bit, which is to make sure tumemwekea solar na kumbaia bed the mattress, you can still reach out so that you can partake of these blessings. Odinga is facing a hostile, informed populace from his own backyard. And the young people have been taking Odinga head-on, telling Raila about what they feel is not right with his arrangement with William Ruto.
That baba ya Raila alitumia Wajaluo. Raila pia mwenyewe anakuja anatumia baba yako, anatumia watoto wako, but you cannot think, you cannot wake up, and you don't want to wake up. It is so sad. You are singing two-term. William Ruto should be a two-term president. But when I ask you why, you are telling us, and you are telling me, that Kibaki was a two-term president, Uhuru was a two-term president. So we should also give William Ruto a two-term presidency. That is the only reason you are giving us. And when we go further, you are telling us that Kikuyus hate Ruto. I want to ask you a question. Did you vote for William Ruto? The same Kikuyus that you are now alleging that they hate William Ruto and they want him to go are the same people who voted for him. You want to tell me that Kikuyus never knew that William Ruto was a challenging when they were voting for him? Wewe ulipigia Raila Odinga kura. And you are now the one shouting on the social media telling us how Kikuyu wanachukia William Ruto. Are you out of your mind? Are you mad? Before you talk about Kikuyus and anybody else, let's talk about Raila. Let's talk about your Raila. Raila has been in government of Moi. He was in Uhuru's regime. He was in Kibaki's regime. And now he is in William Ruto's regime. The question I want to ask you, how is Raila being in government has changed your life? How many industries have you built in Luo Nyanza? How many? And as a community called Luos, what do you have? What are you contributing economically for the economy of the Kenya? How many industries do you have? The media stations you are listening and you are watching does not belong to you. The banks where you put your money does not belong to you. What are you producing as a country? How are you contributing to the economy of Kenya? apart from being employed here by the same people unachukia. Radio Ramogi employed Wajaluo wangapi? That is a Kikuyu media station. Ramogi TV ni ya nani? Ni ya Kikuyu. Umeandikwa kazi huko nafanya huko. How many industries have Raila built for you in Nyanza that you can say hii ni yetu? What can you say? What can you stand and tell Kenyans that this belongs to us? Even the house you are living in belongs to a Kikuyu. Wewe kama Mjaluo, as a Luo nation, what are you producing? How are you contributing economically? Sikuandika tu hapa kazi kwa serikali hapa. Hizi ndogo kama walimu nini hapa. What are you producing? How many industries do you have? You have Lake Victoria, but the processing industry is in Thika. Why is it Raila cannot empower Luos? Because he knows very well. If he empowers Luos, they will no longer be his political pawns. He will no longer use you as his political pawns. The only thing that Raila can give you is poverty, bloodshed, deaths, graves in Nyanza. That's the only thing that Raila can contribute to you. Raila has built economic empire. His economic empire for him and his family. He has built a political empire. But what about you? What about you people who have been used as his political pawns? What are you proud of as a Luo nation? What are you proud of? You can say, this is what Raila have been bringing to us. Because he was in Moi's regime, this is what he brought to us. Because he was in Kibaki's regime, this is what he brought for us. He was in Uhuru's regime, this is what he brought for us. And now he's in Kibaki's regime, this is what he's bringing to us. Can you tell us? Can you just be proud of yourselves and tell us what you have been receiving from this man called Raila? Your problem is not nobody else. All along, your problem have been Raila Amolo Odinga.
Away from the poetic talk by John Mbadi and a clique of leaders who are actually within the Ruto system, not so much is happening within the Nyanza backyard. And of course, we can see the way Odinga has been put at the center of government with every indication that is the man calling shots, but not away from the glamorous events and the trappings of power that is seen within Nairobi State House. That does not really translate to real change in his backyard or even the traditional ODM zones. And this reality, as Kenya heads to the next election, is going to catch up with every leader who will struggle to account for their political moves after 2022 general election. Katiba Day at KCC, I wanted to look at this sitting arrangement. And I've been saying Odinga on this side, Kindiki on the other side, and then you have Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. Even Uhuru Kenyatta really had a very good relationship with Raila in his second term. But I did not see that. It is not just a coincidence. This is a deliberate posturing by William Ruto. And what the president has done is to elevate the stature of Odinga, especially when in public spaces, to achieve an objective that Odinga is going to play. And because this was Katiba Day, and it is really known that it is the Raila Odingas and of course the team that vouched for the new constitution, and actually William Ruto posted, and I believe it has not been fully implemented. Odinga is being used, and sorry to use the word used, but that is the best word there. Odinga is actually being used to float what is clothed as a referendum push. And his messaging today is on NGCDF and scrapping of counties.
Secondly, I believe the time has come for the country to relook the whole issue of devolution. Kenya, in my view, is too tiny for 47 devolved units. We are just 5 short of the United States, which is a continent. Nigeria, with over 200 million people, has got 34 plus Abuja. South Africa has got 9 provinces. I won't advocate for abolition of any county, but I believe we are ripe for a 3-tier system that has county, regional, and national governments. I believe the articles introduced in the Constitution to strengthen the provincial administration need to be reviewed with a view to abolishing the system. This was an issue at Bomas of Kenya, the provincial administration, and we said it was a relic of colonialism that has no place in independent Kenya, yet we seem to be reviving it.
This is strategic, let me tell you, and this is a very intentional proposal is brought up. Last week, he said NGCDF shall be scrapped. And MPs complained, and I remember even Millie Odhiambo saying that Odinga is only looking at governors. I remember, I think that was also Sifuna saying that governors have misadvised Baba, in that Odinga was only looking at governors and not the MPs. So today, he created another balancing act saying, we need to merge Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisumu to some regional block. That we will have counties, then regional blocks, then national government. And there is one proposal, one after the other. And sometimes I agree with people who argue, while Odinga clothes his, these proposals as opinions, but sometimes the state want to take them. He's being used to test the waters. How about a constitutional change? That, if you ask me, is the objective. But I want to tell you this. The real deal is here. If you look at how William Ruto has been elevating the profile of Odinga, you are tempted to feel that there is a president, either a co-president or a prime minister, then a vice president, and then Musalia Mudavadi. In fact, let me tell you, William Ruto will vouch for a constitutional change so that he can manage 2027 general election. Because while it is convenient to get prime cabinet, to get prime minister position, but if you create that position with Raila, thinking that of course you have Raila targeting it, and you still also want to maintain the Mount Kenya vote with the deputy president slot, then there is less to be admired in that kind of political arrangements. This is what is coming out as we speak. Ruto-Raila deal has a constitutional amendment tucked inside. And this constitutional amendment is what is the momentum being created by these discussions about NGCDF, the discussions about devolution. And in fact, the state players are already elevating Raila as the father of devolution. This constitutional amendment is being clothed as, a move to strengthen devolution. But the devil is inside. Odinga, the problem with devolution is not even about enough money going to counties. It is not even about some functions have not been devolved. Remember, devolving those functions just needs you allocating money. The problem with our counties is they've been reduced to employment bureaus. Employment bureaus. And not so much is happening there. So while it has not, and in fact, there have been devolved corruption. the governors are small gods in the villages. And what was an objective to take power to the people have only devolved that money to people's pockets. Let me tell you, this is what is coming out. Raila Odinga and William Ruto are voting for a shift to a parliamentary system. How does this parliamentary system will work? The winning coalition in parliament forms the government, with the party leader becoming the prime minister. Ruto knows that one-on-one presidential race is risky for him, very risky for him. And his safer bet is to build numbers with Raila inside parliament. So it will not matter if ODM is dead, if UDA is dead. But if ODM gets the numbers, then according to him, he can still inherit those numbers. If not parliamentary, then the tenure, security of deputy president, prime cabinet secretary is seen, meaning if they are impeached, the entire government is impeached. So the tenure of a DP and prime cabinet secretary is attached to that of the president. The deputy president does not take power in case the president is impeached. This will give Raila security in view of the impending betrayal if he supports William Ruto in 2027. Allegedly, if he supports William Ruto gets, rigs his way out to power, but Raila retains the numbers. If an impeachment motion comes and the president is impeached, the deputy who remains cannot take over. And that is the cure coming. In fact, it should be that if he impeach deputy, even the presidency has been impeached. Because this ticket is joint, and people are arguing that don't allow someone to impeach president and deputy. If we impeach either, the presidency is affected. Now, the real thing is about the position of prime minister and its security and its privileges. But these goodies, they are goodies for the public. Since the amendment is really about Ruto's and Raila's political survival beyond 2027, the popular clauses of, scrapping some counties, reducing some constituencies, scrapping NGCDF, are just lucrative goodies thrown on the way so that mwananchi would pick. And it is being clothed as strengthening devolution. In real sense, the devil is not the devolution. The devil is the creation of a prime minister position. And you can look, if you look at Musalia Mudavadi is not very happy. He's not. The position will be trapped between a rock and a hard place. They will likely say no to an amendment on different grounds, but also tempted by the goodies that may pass the referendum. The referendum will also be based on item must. And I would really wait. When there was BBI, William Ruto said, let us not go and vote for the document as a whole. Let us itemize it so that if Kenyans want prime minister position, they say yes or no. If they want devolution to be, maybe counties to be reduced or increased, yes or no. If they want NGCDF to be maintained or removed, yes or no. I would want to know at this point if that is the objective. But no one really wants to do a referendum. William Ruto cannot face the people of Kenya into a popular vote before 2027. And the referendum discussion that the Odingas have been put to float is a plan number one to keep Raila busy. Yes, keep him busy, here, there, so that you will not start thinking. You know, when you need Raila to start thinking outside the box, they want to make sure Raila remains within the box. There was an MP who was saying, mwekee maziwa, akianguka huku anapata maziwa huku, akiangalia huku ili asituache kwa serikali peke yetu. Ruto will clearly fashion the constitutional amendment as new beginning for Kenya. And that would be used to cover up for the hard questions that they have been talking about. And lastly, I feel the referendum is a set agenda for heightened political activity. And being that it is coming 2 years to a general election, it is supposed to digress the attention of the country from the real issue. Because I've always been saying, if people go to the 2027 ballot thinking about SHA, thinking about how their money is being swindled in affordable housing, thinking how what is being seen as universal health coverage is just being used for people to get money, thinking how university fee has increased from 24,000 to 96,000. I have that document, I saw it. Then William Ruto will not make his way. All these are side shows to make sure you don't think about the issue. Thank you.